Well, do you want the journey from the start or? Kitchen hand at the Great Northern Hotel in town. So I think it's the McHugh now. Then went to Queensland, as a 19-year-old does, and started an apprenticeship there. Then wanted to move back home, and I sent a fax. I sent a fax to Fee and me because I was like, I'm not going home unless I'm working at the best place. I sent him a fax, and yeah, he rang like the next day, and they offered me sight unseen, like second-year apprentice. It's like cool, so I moved home. That was cool. Learned a lot. Very systematic and organised place. And then from there, went to mud. Did that for 2.5 years, 3 years. And what happened? Pierre's. When the Birchmoors renovated Pierre's, went in there as head chef for the first year. It was hardcore. It was more than I thought it was going to be. Hence the 1 year. It did take a lot out of me as like a 26-year-old, I think, 27-year-old. And head chef, but they had a consultant.
It's already good.
Yeah. So there was a lot of like, how's this work? Like, how's this going to come together? But you know, eventually we got in there and got, you know, ironed out a lot of stuff. And I guess on a build of a new place, just things happen. Like taps don't actually reach sinks and stuff like that. Floors are rough and you can't actually clean them, and so there was a lot of that for the first 2 months. And yeah. But that was good. It was all brand new stuff, so it was fun. Yeah. 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 It's like the Chromy kitchen on drugs. Yeah. But then yeah, Pierre's took a lot out of me actually. Like, and I don't know. It was like, I think we got to winter and it got really quiet, and it just like, yeah, it was. Oh, I've got all this staff here. What am I going to do? And I just went, you need a break. So I actually got a casual job at Grand Central for 3 months, and then I was like, what are you doing? But then I took on the catering contract at the Riverside Golf Club. So I entered a whole, like, had come from restaurants and then just went to this, like, I was operating a tuck shop and setting up for 3-course weddings at the same time, and yeah, so it was fun, and it was my own little business, and yeah. And like when you're in that sort of situation with like 300 members, it was more the people. Like you got to see the same people every Saturday playing golf, same time, same deep fried stuff, same roast roll, and you knew, like, that side of it was really beautiful. Like they all knew me. They don't know each other, but they all know you, and it's like you're the connector. So it was really cool in that regard. But like, yeah, when you're punching out tuck shop, 3 years, that was enough. And yeah, yeah. So I can set up function rooms and do a tuck shop and prep a wedding if you ever need me to do that in one day. So yeah, I basically wanted to get back into, I don't know how you say it, real food, restaurant, get it back in touch with the career, the reasons that I started it. So yeah, just went out as a casual and was like, cool, I can learn off someone again. Because I guess when I was doing mud, I was like 25 and I was head chef, and it's just like, too young. You're like, you can do it, you can do that business, but you haven't got that more well-rounded experience. So it was like, it was really cool to go and work under someone, so under Sean Keating, and that was amazing. So, what do you say? It's a bit cliched to say produce driven, but I guess that's what it is. It's vineyards. Yeah, I know. That's why I hate it. Sustainable. What is really nice to be able to do is to be in a location and to be able to represent that location where you are, what's hitting the plate should fit. I think if you're like rural, like less straight lines and less, yeah, a bit more flowy and a bit more natural, a bit more like a tree or, you know, the landscape. Whereas if you're in a city, urban, maybe you can fit that a bit more. But then again, maybe doing one in the other, the juxtaposition of that is cool as well. So there's no real There's no real rules, I guess. I guess it was the first place I started using Wagyu and stuff like that. Curing duck breast and just nice flowy little plate up of dishes. And we explored different techniques that I hadn't done before either. So I mean, out there we had all the toys. So it's like you can play with textures and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess a company like Joseph Chromy, having that behind you to be able to play with things and to be able to get premium product, have the toys there to be able to deal with it. Yeah, and I think that, you know, the year that we were there doing it, we ended up in the Australian Hottest 50. And so that was really cool to be a part of that, you know, whether it's someone's opinion or whatever, but it was like affirming that we were doing the right thing. So yeah. I guess maybe more with the tourist trade, whether they've seen any accolades or write-ups, or so there's an expectation created, I guess. And that's where, like with here, I like to be a bit quiet and a bit sneakier and a bit of the underdog. I love playing the underdog and just sort of proving it by you walk in without expectation and get blown away. That's, yeah, more my angle out here. A little bit more subtle. Yeah, no big claims. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that like for you?
That was interesting. Trying to make changes or do something different, or, you know, swap out a protein on a menu, having to go through the levels. We did do a lot of costing out there, like we were running the programs and stuff like that. And me personally, like I'm not, you know, I don't work like that. Like I always did my homework on the last night, like that kind of stuff. On the fly, last minute, and that's how I like to operate. So yeah, I guess that's, you know, it's a learning curve doing that stuff, which was great because I did learn a lot about theories on how you can cost a menu and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, maybe I'll use it again one day. And now it's more about food and experience. The opportunity to do this, to do my own thing. And I guess the opportunity to do it differently. Yeah, it came up, and live in the community where we are, so it was sort of perfect. So
Seems like a little bit of excitement.
oh yeah. To have, I mean, this whole thing was based off one dish, which was a jaffle, and that was the only food idea I had. Like coming in, I was going to cook jaffles in the wood-fired oven with campfire jaffle irons, and that's what this whole restaurant was based on. But when you look at that, like, it's beautiful because it's like, it speaks about me, and it's probably the first thing I ever cooked is jaffles at home in the afternoon. Cook a jaffle. Nostalgic, so we try and what we are doing is creating stuff that's nostalgic to us, that is simple or familiar, but we can be reworking things. I guess the jaffle sort of stands for, we don't do the jaffle anymore. That developed into the grilled cheese, which was also something that I learned how to cook very young. But yeah, I think that sort of speaks the simplicity, using the fire, raw, real, familiar, so people can come in and it's approachable. Yeah, I tried it for weeks. I was just like, I got different jaffle irons, and I'm like, and I'm in there and they're sticking to the jaffle iron at 350 degrees, and I'm trying to get it out, and it's just like, after a while I just went, it's okay. Let's just use one bit of toast and we'll cook it like a pizza. and it hasn't left the menu. So, I don't know, like, yeah, the jaffle sort of says a lot about what we were trying to do, what I was trying to do. There was no, like, real clear plan. And that's sort of like the name as well, Timbre, is like the distinctive quality that makes something different. We don't know what it is yet. Whether it will be defined, it always changes, so.
In 5 years' time, people may be able to pronounce it correctly.
They might. But I don't care. I really don't care, because it's like, people are like, why did you, people don't know. And I'm like, well, at least they're talking about it. Don't care. I do, so.
Really interesting to me, because there is a quality, I think. There's two ends to that. There's one is like, I'm really capable of doing that. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. I have the structure, the base knowledge, I have all of those things.
Yeah.
But then there's also like looking back now, like whether it's like 5 years, 10 years, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Like I would never regret like going, yes, I can do that. But like you sort of go, even at the time though, I knew that like, well, I can do this job. Like I know this place, I've been here for a year and a bit, like I can run this kitchen. But it's like then you start to realise like things like people management as a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, that's where things get tricky. Like I was a bit of a psycho as well, because I was like, this is all, people are looking at this now going, this is him, like this has to be good. And I was like, how many different varieties of head chefs had I seen? Not that many, like, or worked with. And it's like, well, at that time it was still a little bit old school, where it's like you got to do a bit of yelling, and it's like, yeah, I went a bit nuts for 6 months or so. It was just like rules and like, yeah, and after a while you're like, hang on, this is driving me crazy. But yeah. So how to treat people, and yeah, the whole culture has changed, and it's beautiful. And I think with with Instagram and other social media and Facebook and Twitter or whatever, it just spreads, you know. And you can have an influential chef from America like David Chang or someone like that can just write something, send it out, and it's viral, and it starts to seep into everyone. So all these people that are working in these amazing places, realising that the yelling doesn't need to happen. We don't need to be treating each other like shit. If you enable people to do things, like it's so much better. Like anyone can be creative. Instead of the whole hierarchy of like, only I'm allowed to say and do this, and he's allowed to say and do a little bit of that. It's just like, I don't know, I think it's nice.
How for you has that gone? Like, how do you manage your kitchen now?
Well, I guess the one thing that I always have done is I've always had a really good relationship with front of house, which from the old school, it's always been like that. And I've never understood it even as a first year or as a kitchen hand, like, because I've always appreciated restaurants as a whole and a unit. And so I think that's really helped along the way in regards for me to filter that back through the kitchen. Whereas nowadays, I'll just enjoy being able to enable someone to come in. Don't be scared. I'm not going to tell you it's wrong, or we might talk about it. But it's like giving someone a task that they can work on and a project that they can work on for 2 months. Like I've got a guy that I said I really want to start working on bread, and it's like, and he just did it, and in any 5 minutes that he has feeding starters, different recipes, writing them all down. To be able to witness that and see how that is without writing down rules and yelling them at people, it's just, yeah. Watching someone being able to learn and teach themselves, and letting them do it. And it's, yeah. So these days, yeah, there's no yelling, and it's just, we're in here to work and we play with food, and yeah.
Enable creativity.
Yeah, and I mean, my main goal is to have front and back wanting to come to work, and they do. I think they do. I think they love working here, and that's what makes me happy. So, yeah. I think with our food here, like we talked about the jaffle, which can symbolise everything. Unrefined. Getting rid of garnish, the word garnish. We just don't use the word garnish. And it's like, it's more about taking that product, applying a simple technique, a different technique, something complicated. But and then presenting it in a way that that's a beetroot. It's not, you know, we're playing with fire and smoke, we're fermenting and pickling, but then presenting on the plate. And it's just, I don't know, we're sort of just going for unrefined. If it doesn't need to be there, it doesn't go there. Why does it need to have green on it? Why can't it have 2 bits of green on it? Like, there's no rules. Like, we're just sort of there's no rules, but just make it simple. It's unrefined, it's unfine dining, it's food. And being able to do that though in a way that you can put that on a menu and communicate that to the customer, that it isn't an entree or it isn't a main, it's just sort of food on a plate. Which we're getting like lots better at, like how can we design this menu so it speaks to not just hospitality, chefy people that are in the know, but like to the public as well, that it's order a banquet. Order a banquet and just let us do our thing, and we'll give you some plates of food that aren't entrees, they're not mains, they don't all have a starch, they don't have a garnish, stuff like that. So
It's like with the
coming into a space and switching the game, it was like the first couple of weeks was very interesting because we got a wood-fired oven and it's like, you don't do pizzas? And we're like, no. And it's like, I love pizza. It's like my favourite thing. But I wanted to cook everything else in the wood-fired oven. So we a bit of backlash from not doing pizza, but we got through it, and now it's less and less. But now we're thinking about doing pizza nights in summer. Yeah, the change up, and like coming into it was like very minimal budget from a business perspective. Middle of July, scared shitless, rearranging the kitchen every day, rewriting the menu when I went home every night. I'd come in and I'd be pulling this bench here, and I had a guy working here. He's like, he'd walk in and he'd be like, "What are you doing? You're crazy." He's like, and then I cut the hole out and cut the window out of the wall there so we can have a pass. So it was like, it was just a constant movement. There was no set plan, and I think that's what I'm really happy with, because it has evolved as it's needed to, and as I saw it needed to be, like whether that be daily or once a week or whatever. And then we found a little nook where it was like, cool, let's run this nook, this is good. And we set up the shared table banquets, and that took a little while to like work out the best way to deliver it. And I'm proud of the way that we deliver our banquets and the shared table style of dining.
That changes the game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. I'm just like, this is mad. And I remember
window in the door.
bang. And I'm just like, the window's coming out. And it's like, oh, the council, the window's coming out.
The council becomes
Yeah, and he came through and he's like, didn't there used to be a window there? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think so, I took it out. He's like, do you ever open those doors over there? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, woo, can't do that. So that's why we've got the air curtains up there now.
What's been your favourite reno item?
Oh, the pass is up there. The pass is definitely up there. We got new tables for outside, you know, stuff like that, little things like that where it was like, we really need this. And like going to a furniture guy and he's like, oh, I don't really do stuff like that. I'm just like, well, will you do it? We want a slab like this. He's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, just additions like that, I think. The pass though, the window, I like being connected with the restaurant, and it becomes one unit then. We don't have like docket issues here. We don't have, there's not the issues that I've had in other restaurants where it's just like, because they're at the till, they can turn around and go, oh, I forgot to do this on the docket, or we can communicate straight away, and it's just like, yeah, cool, done. So there isn't like that yeah, it's just straight up and fire. And like the way that our food's quick, like we drive it out, so there isn't like this backlog. It's just, yeah, I like to create a menu and create a food style that eliminates problems, potential problems. So people are getting fed, you know, we can do like in the middle of summer, do 120 covers for a lunch with without wait time, without like that 45-minute block hole where you just like, so it's cool. It works, and the pass is tiny. So food goes on it, food goes off it. It has to. And there's no heat lamp either, so it's got to go. We got young front of house at work here, and they're like, look at this, and I'm like, I don't want to look at that. It's got a chocolate bar shoved in it. Yeah. Oh look, it's hard for me to avoid a brulee. If there's a brulee somewhere, like I'll, you know. Dessert-wise, we like.
Or sweet things.
Yeah, in the bottom section.
Yeah.
We're always going to lean towards semi-savoury, like the. Just sugar on sugar on sugar doesn't really do it. I mean, the dessert that we found that there's things that have hit the menu and have not left. So it's really nice to sort of have a place where you've had they're not signatures. Like there's no, I don't want to talk about signature dishes, but it's just like it doesn't need to leave. Like it works, it fits the restaurant, it fits the vibe, and it's the miso semifreddo that we do. So it's salty, it's funky, and I guess it speaks a lot about the rest of the menu. Like there's usually a flavour in the dish that is like a bit of a, well, what's that? Like something fermented or pickled or, you know, slightly offensive. So yeah, always semi-savoury, and if we can work like a vegetable in there, we will. But yeah, we don't play around too much with sweets because we only have 2 on the menu at any time. So sort of, don't feel the need to have 4 desserts or 4, So as long as it's got salt in it, I'm usually happy.
Tell me your worst experience.
I had the worst service of my life at Chromy's.
Let's go into that.
On a public holiday Monday.
Let's do it. Let's go in.
Public holiday Mondays at Joseph Chromy, you get absolutely smashed. I thought it would be cool if me, another guy and a kitchen hand, and that would be enough. I was being a hero. I was overconfident. We sold a lot of oysters, which we shucked to order. That was the first time I've ever grabbed the docket book and wrote front of house an apology at the end of service and went out and gave them all a hug. Because I had to get like whoever was running the shift to stand at the pass and tell me what to come up on next. I was deep in the weeds. But it was beautiful. It was good, yeah. I don't think I've had one since then. That was worst service of life. Yes.
What did it feel like when you knew that, when you finally realised that this is going on?
We are in deep. Well, I called for assistance, so, you know, that was the right thing to do. So, but I don't know how actually bad it was looking from the outside, but maybe my own personal was like, oh my God, I am out of control. I need help. But maybe it wasn't that bad. But I felt the weight of the world.
Which is, why do this? Why do this? When you can do anything, why do this?
It changes, and it has changed over the years. Obviously you get bitten by the bug of hospitality early, but then why do you keep doing it? It's like, I like to make people happy. It makes me feel good. But it's almost a quest for me to make myself happy. And I think we do okay, and I think I do okay at what I do, but it's because there's a lot of self-doubt and there's a lot of, I'd like to say it's all about the customer, but it's probably more selfish, and it's my own personal quest to be okay with myself. And making people happy does make me happy. And that's what I mean. I don't think I'll ever get to that end goal because there's always going to be another step or another nook that I have to hit. And yeah.